Hi, Jenny here again. Now I'm going to talk about this thing called mineralisation that I just mentioned in the end of the last video. And this is the thing where nutrients get locked into the bodies of microbes when they're doing their work in the soil, and then they live their life and then they die. So this is quite important because this is the reason why Bokashi is different to chemical fertilizers, one of the many reasons. And that is because the nutrients that we put down when we dig down Bokashi, they don't wash away. They get mineralized because they are the kind of nutrients that are interesting for microbes to eat. And if a microbe eats let's say a Bokashi nutrient in some way, that will stay inside its body, and the microbe will either go on living, in which case you have it's sort of there permanently in the microbe, or the microbe will die, and those nutrients or those minerals, let's say, are then in the body of the microbe, so they're not going to get washed out in the next drain because they're like fixed fast in the body of the microbe. And either that microbe will be eaten by another little creature, or it will just die and hang around in the soil. And we're talking about zillions and zillions of these things, so it is in total quite a big deal. So this is called mineralisation. When a mineral, let's just say it's liquid or something, just to make it easy to understand, and the microbe eats this liquid mineral, and then it becomes permanent in the soil and it won't wash away because it's either in the body of the microbe, or it's in the body of something that eats that microbe, or in some way it's fixed in the soil. So chemical fertilizers work differently because those minerals that come down, or nutrients or whatever, you know, the N's and the P's and the K's that are coming in the fertilizer, they're not attached to anything. They're just like little vitamin pills, right? And they're just lying around in the soil. And if they are of some use to the plant, they will be used. But if they're not any use, they will just like hang around until they get washed away in the rain or whatever. And only a fraction of the chemical fertilizers that are actually put out on fields or in gardens or parks or whatever are actually used by the plants. It's really, really hit or miss. It's like giving your kids a great basket of vitamin tablets every morning and just saying, "Oh, have a few of these, will you?" and then toss the rest out. It's just not practical. So this is why when people worry about in the autumn, is it okay to dig down Bokashi? And the answer is yes, it is. And the reason is because the nutrients in what you dig down are actually going to stay there in the soil because they will get fixed by the microbes. And we know with Bokashi that because we also bring in a little army of microbes in every bucket, quite, you know, healthy, normal microbes, they will do the work. So there's no chance that those nutrients will get lost in any way. Whereas if you fertilise with chemical fertilisers in the autumn or the fall, there's a real risk that can get washed away because there are no plants doing any work. They don't need nutrients. There's nothing to take up those nutrients, and there's nothing either that want to eat them, so they will just wash away. And this is the big difference why we need to feed the microbes. We talk in organic gardening about feeding the soil and not the plants. And what we're actually doing is feeding the microbes. So if we just take on that mindset and think, how can we feed our microbes? Like this, like a little army of farmers, they're doing a fantastic work down there under the soil to feed our plants and trees. What is it that they need? How can we feed them? And the microbes will absorb all of this in some way. What the tree needs, it will get, and what the tree doesn't need for the moment will just stay in the body of the microbes. And it's not wasted because, you know, let's say some worm will eat up that microbe, and then the output of the worm poo, vermicast, is actually an upgrade on the original material. So for every step of the way, it's just getting more and more valuable in the soil. Super, super nice way to look after our soil. And we start by feeding the microbes. And the mineralisation process, which happens because they stay solid in the soil in some way, means that we don't have to take responsibility. We can hand this work over to the microbes and to all the creatures in the soil web, because they know exactly what they're doing and do it way, way better than us. It's amazing.